She laughed. Not a chuckle, not nervous. It was sharp, loud, cruel. I remember the curve of her mouth more than the words, the way she didn't try to soften it. Come on, Ethan. You're a grown man crying over a job? I sat there, still in my suit, hands clenched in my lap, fingers twitching from the phone call that had just shattered 14 years of work. She poured herself wine, didn't even offer me any. I said nothing, because in that moment, the part of me that still loved her snapped. Not loud, not dramatic, just clean, like thread cut with a blade. She thought I was broken. She didn't know I was becoming something else. It started months before that. A shift in her tone, her eyes lingering too long on her phone screen. Passwords changed without a word. Dinners skipped, excuses recycled. I noticed, of course I did, but I pretended I didn't. That's what marriage teaches you sometimes, how to ignore rot until it eats the foundation clean through. Then came the strange charges. Lyft rides during work hours, boutique receipts when she told me she was at yoga. And one night while brushing my teeth, I heard her laugh again, soft this time, private, whispered through the crack of a barely closed bathroom door on speakerphone. He still thinks I care. I stood there, toothbrush in hand, staring into the mirror. And I realized I wasn't looking at her anymore with love. I was studying her, like a case, like a threat. I made no accusations, no confrontations, only notes, meticulous records. Her calendar sync gave me every appointment she forgot to hide. The name Gavin kept popping up. Lunches, evenings, hotel conferences. The irony was, I knew Gavin. He worked for me. Well, technically under a shell company I owned. I kept my name off everything after the buyout. Let others be the face. I liked the silence of power. So I did what came naturally. I watched. Gavin didn't know he was being tailed. Neither did she. When I saw the photo, her hand in his, their lips barely apart outside a restaurant, I didn't feel rage, just a kind of clarity, a cold, precise silence inside me. The same silence I felt when I signed the deal that ousted my former partner. I had built my empire by knowing when to play dumb. She never even wondered why I hadn't updated my LinkedIn after getting fired. She never asked how I still paid the mortgage. She didn't want answers. She wanted escape. And I was going to give it to her, wrapped in her own ambition. It came in the form of an email. I watched her face across the dinner table as she opened it on her phone. Subject, interview confirmation, Vandermeer Group. She lit up. Told me a recruiter reached out, said she had an interview next week. Marketing director, 6 figures, full benefits. I nodded. That's great. She blinked. Suspicious. For half a second, she looked at me like I had grown teeth. I smiled gently. Inside, I was already in the boardroom, watching the interview being scheduled on our internal calendar. The name on the invite? Miss Clara Jensen. I had chosen that alias myself. I would be watching through the glass, not saying a word, not needing to. She wore red to the interview, power color, confident. She didn't see me behind the mirrored wall, didn't recognize the room, didn't know I'd built it. She smiled like she owned the place. That smile slipped the moment Clara Jensen, my proxy, slid a folder across the table. Photos, emails, a short dossier of ethics concerns. Her voice stayed level. We're thorough with our candidates, Mrs. Langston. We vet integrity as highly as experience. Silence. I watched my wife's, ex-wife's, jaw tighten. Watched her flip through the images. Her voice cracked once, then again. Is this some kind of joke? Clara closed the folder. We take deception very seriously here, especially when it reflects poorly on future leadership. She stood up. Security was already at the door. My wife, no, Amanda, left with her head down. I left through the back exit, unnoticed. My hands were steady the entire time. That night she came home quiet, didn't speak, didn't eat, didn't even look at me. The next morning, I left the divorce papers on the counter. No note, I didn't need one. She signed them 2 days later. No fight, no questions, just silence. Sometimes I catch myself remembering the sound of her laugh, how sharp it was, how certain. Now it's just noise, a hollow echo of someone who mistook cruelty for strength. She thought I was crying because I was weak. She never understood I wasn't mourning the job, I was mourning her. And once that was done, all that was left to do was end it.